How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to the Connor Hughes MMA channel. And today I'm going to be breaking down two of the upcoming Fight Night main events that really excite me and that I think are really interesting fights to break down. First, we have the week after the McGregor card, UFC Oklahoma City, where Dricus du Plessis will be fighting Kamaru Usman. Now, from what I'm hearing, there's going to be a new belt made for this called the BAF, the baddest African fighter. Um, and it's gonna have the medal on it is gonna be in the shape of the continent of Africa. And yeah, both guys are really gunning for that belt. No, but seriously, if this is a great fight, if Dricus du Plessis wins it, he truly is the king of Africa. And if Kamaru Usman wins it, he shoots himself right into the title picture at 185 because he does already have a win against Sean Strickland from a while ago. The thing I see that's interesting in this fight is after Kamaru Usman's last fight at UFC Atlanta against Joaquin Buckley, he said he was going to smudge his way to the title, basically. And he said he was going to hold his opponents down for 3 rounds, 5 rounds until he got his title shot. Dricus, in his last fight, did get held down for 5 rounds by someone who, after round 1, Kamaru Usman had a very competitive fight with, including many people seeing that fight as a draw. But for Usman in this fight, this is going to be one of the first times, or the first time since the Chimaev fight, that he's going back up to 185. And he's also 39 years old. He has allegedly bad knees, from what everyone says. And Dricus du Plessis is coming off a fight where he didn't necessarily take too much damage, other than potentially his ego. I see in the first round of this fight going exactly the way Kamaru Usman wants it to. I see him shooting an early takedown and getting it and being able to either hold DDP up against the cage or hold him in half guard for the entire round while landing pitter-patter ground and pound. And for DDP, I think hopefully, since his last fight did not go the way he wanted in the grappling, I would hope that in this fight he comes with a more ready a more ready game plan to stop the takedowns of Kamaru Usman, because Kamaru Usman is going to shoot takedowns every round. He's not the best striker. He has very good power. He's shown that consistently, but his striking is not the cleanest, and I think because of that, Dricus du Plessis' goofy style as the fight goes on is going to give Kamaru Usman problems. The first 2 rounds of this fight, I believe, are going to be very Usman dominant, and I believe that Dricus is going to need to start stuffing, not obviously he needs to start stuffing takedowns as soon as possible, but in his last fight against Chimaev, a lot of the takedowns were Chimaev's right on the hips, he was in the air, and then he was on the ground. He needs to make Kamaru Usman work more for these takedowns than he made Khamzat Chimaev work. And as we've seen, when someone does make Chimaev work when they're on the ground, and Sean Strickland was able to get a win over him. Speaking of which, I'm wearing that jacket right now. I was at that fight. It was sick. But the thing with Khamzat Chimaev, and that thing with every grappler, is it's a lot easier to lay on somebody that's not trying to move than somebody who's trying to get up or trying to do damage back. And I believe that Dricus du Plessis will no longer, or is going to stop trying his Derek Lewis method of jiu-jitsu, where when he's in a bad position, he will just try and stand up. I also don't see him going into the crucifix again this fight. I believe that that was just unfortunate for him, uh, where after the first time Chimaev went for the crucifix, I feel like Duplessis knew that maybe Chimaev wasn't going to go for a crazy finish or crazy ground and pound. But the problem with Dricus being so calm on the ground and so not worried about the danger of Chimaev, it let Chimaev not have to worry about exploding up to have to throw down ground and pound. Instead, he's in a position where he can just do this, and because you're in crucifix position, at least hitting him, the referee is not going to stand the fight up. And he might have stood the fight up in the fifth round, but again, I don't think uh Usman is as good of a grappler as Chimaev is. Um, Especially when Chimaev is given the privilege of not having to work hard to keep Dricus on the ground. Granted, I'm not saying it was easy, but he didn't have to overexert himself to keep Dricus pinned. Where this fight gets interesting, I believe, will be in the third, fourth, and fifth rounds, where Dricus Duplessis has the elite cardio, as we saw even in fights where he does get kind of smushed, and while he's not working as hard to get up, being on the bottom and having someone just laying on you and doing that is still utterly exhausting. And I believe the skill from, or not skill, the pure will from Dricus will be able to get him through these first two rounds and to start tearing into Kamaru Usman with overhand jabs because he throws those a lot. I believe body shots will start to open up for Dricus's body kicks. And I believe maybe Dricus will be able to get his own takedown. And when he does that, I believe he'll be able to get to a more dominant position than Usman, because when Usman does try and scramble, I believe Dricus Duplessis might be able to get on the back. He might be able to get over the top in a great position like full mount to ground and pound. But if I had to give my like prediction for how this fight goes, I'm gonna be taking Dricus Duplessis to win by fifth round submission. I believe that this will be a very difficult fight for the both of them. I could also see it going to a decision, but I believe if it goes to a decision, I believe Kamaru Usman has a better chance, because I believe the first round for him, in his mind, especially with his ability to get takedowns, is banked. And then Dricus will adjust from there. But I believe that Dricus will be able to find a finish in the fifth round. I believe he's going to be able to outwork Kamaru Usman in certain spots on the ground, being the guy who's 7 years younger and the natural middleweight, or the large middleweight, excuse me, whereas Kamaru Usman is a probably natural middleweight. And then the next fight I want to break down is Khalil Roundtree versus Magomed Ankalaev. And now that I'm like looking at this, I don't know why I thought this. I thought Khalil Roundtree was like 32, 33. Definitely didn't think he was older than Ankalaev. And I definitely don't think he's only 1 inch smaller. I've seen both these guys fight. Pereira and Magomed in the first fight looked almost the same size as Pereira. I don't even know what happened in the second fight. Pereira looked like a giant. He looked like a 300-pounder. But for this fight, the reason this fight interests me so much is because we've seen Khalil Roundtree is super skilled, super fast, technical striking, versus a southpaw who has the ability to work in the takedown, work in clinch strikes, work in trips, and also be able to work in kicks as well. I have a really weird prediction for this fight. You're gonna want to stay to the end and probably call me an idiot in the comments. But in this fight, I see Khalil Roundtree obviously going to the legs of Ankalaev very quickly, as he's now seen Blachowicz and Pereira cause problems for Ankalaev by blasting heavy leg kicks. But where I believe Ankalaev is gonna have more success there is I believe since he knows Khalil Roundtree is this Thai style boxer, he's going to be the one going for Ankalaev knows that Khalil is going to be the one going for these leg kicks. And while Khalil does this extremely well, he also sometimes leaves himself open to the body because he'll throw his leg kicks with his hands up high. And with a guy like Ankalaev, who's a southpaw, this is always an interesting dynamic I think that it brings to a fight. When you have a guy who's a southpaw, and I think this might be reversed on my screen, I'm not sure, but my hand is here. So, and then when I throw my body kick, it's now my left leg, which in Ankalaev's case is power leg, going to the liver side. And we've seen Khalil Roundtree get worked to the body by Alex Pereira. We've seen him take brutal punishment in the Alex Pereira fight. Um, I believe since then he has fought. I believe he beat Jamal Hill and then lost to Yuri Prohaska. I believe that was it. And in after the Pereira fight, there is just so much scar tissue on Khalil Roundtree's face, I believe, for it not to open up. It's the same worry Marab fans should have going into the third fight with Peter Yan due to how technical of a striker Peter Yan is. Uh, the you can't change. We also, another example, we saw it in the Nate Diaz versus Mike Perry fight. Mike Perry was landing strikes, and Nate Diaz immediately looked like he had got someone had recently been trying to remove his face, and blood was pouring from it. It was extremely bloody, and Nate Diaz that happens to him in almost every fight recently in his career, even though he hasn't fought in a long time, but because of the scar tissue that these fighters take in these brutal wars, they have parts of their face and other parts of their body that will open up to strikes quicker. I have one above my eye. It's not from a fight. I walked into a pole as a kid, but now anytime like when I when I trained my Muay Thai, whenever I get hit in that eye, it's always instinctual that I check it because I feel like it's bleeding. I don't know if that makes sense. I don't know if these guys obviously have that because they're in a different mentality. Because I'm light touch sparring to figure out like Muay Thai basics and stuff, whereas these guys are swinging bombs. But Khalil Roundtree's face, or let me get back to let me stop talking about Khalil's face. Ankalaev is gonna be able to establish his jab, and the jab is the best tool to open someone's to break someone's nose, to make someone's eyes swell. And I believe Magomed Ankalaev has all the tools to have Khalil Roundtree's face really badly swelled up by the second round. And then I hate to say this, but Khalil Roundtree does quit, kinda, in a way. Khalil Roundtree, when the fight is not going his way, you often see a very dejected, angry, or not angry, but like sad guy. And I think he's in his fights, he's really only ever able to be the hammer. He can't take. I'm mainly referring to the Yuri fight, even and the Pereira fight. When he's the one on the as the hammer, he's smiling, he's very confident, he'll taunt, he'll do all this stuff. But when he's the one getting tagged up in the third round against Yuri, after the front kick to the body from Yuri, Roundtree's hands dropped, and it literally looked like when you tell a toddler they can't have something, they go, "Oh man." It's that's how I sometimes see Khalil Roundtree when he's fighting. Khalil, don't kill me, please. But yeah, as this fight goes on, I see Ankalaev really opening up the face of Khalil, where Khalil's still going to be going to Ankalaev's legs. And I believe this is going to be a very one-dimensional fight from each fighter. They're not going to each go for crazy thing or crazy techniques, knowing that the other is so technical and so powerful. And I don't think, or I also don't think Khalil Roundtree necessarily has the ability to defend takedowns as well as other fighters who have fought Ankalaev. And where I really don't see Khalil being able to get in his groove, I guess, in this fight. And I believe that as Ankalaev continues to throw body kicks to the liver side of Roundtree, you're going to see the demeanor of Roundtree get worse and worse. I believe he's going to then because he won't quit on himself to the point where he's getting hit and he'll just be like, all right, I'm done. He can will himself back to be like, all right, I just got to focus on this. I believe as he keeps taking these body kicks, he's going to end up dropping a hand, and Ankalaev's going to find a beautiful flush head kick that begins to the beginning, or that leads to the beginning of the end of the fight. And I think that's going to happen in round 4. And I believe that after this fight, I believe you make Ankalaev versus Olberg, because I believe Ankalaev will need time to recover after this fight. I believe that Olberg is obviously still recovering, and I believe this is I believe that fight is the next best fight to make because of Ankalaev's win over Alex Pereira. And yeah, so my picks are for this fight, Magomed Ankalaev, or my early predictions, because I'm going to be making full breakdown videos for these fights, because for these cards, because they're supposedly going to be very good. This is like obviously this is an Abu Dhabi card, so I'm certain that's going to be stacked. And then for this fight, I mean, low key might be a shitty undercard, but this main event is absolutely worth it. I just want to say, if you watch to the end, thank you. Please like and subscribe. I hope you have a good day. See ya.